today I want to share about my father-in-law. He was an amazing man, absolutely amazing. A good man, a gentleman, a servant heart, one who understood the call of God, one who raised his children in a godly manner, absolutely amazing man. He loved the church. He loved people. He was a leader. He used his skills. He just served what he had. He served. He fixed anything. But a lot of the times he fixed, especially people retired. He maintained this stuff free of charge. What a good man! He would always help anyone. Always generous, and I mean generous, financially generous, generous with his love, generous with his time, generous in serving. I really mean a generous man. Absolutely generous. So at the age, again, of about 55, I think, love, right? When he was at home one day just working on things, as he was always doing, one of the workers or managers who was working at a house and doing stuff on a house came running to him, and he said to him, "Come help me. The workers that we have employed are breaking into the house and beating the owner." So my father-in-law, without a second thought, ran to help. When he got there, he was savagely beaten. Smashed with hammers. That his face was unrecognizable. Thrown in the pool, somehow got out. Smashed by illegal immigrants who were possibly soldiers in Mozambique, in Renamo and Frelimo. So only understood one language. That was violence. If you've ever been to Mozambique at that time in the Civil War, we have some people here from Angola, they will tell you. I'd been to Mozambique in the Civil War. To take Bibles. The manager, site manager, ran and somehow got help. And they came, paramedics came, they took him to the school because they had to bring a helicopter in. So badly was he beaten. The same school that my mother-in-law worked in as a secretary. She saw the activity, but nobody from that school recognized him. And somehow, after he was taken to hospital, my mother-in-law got contacted. She went there and they contacted us. We were staying in Kimberley, South Africa, a church who had planted a CRC church. And we made our way up. It was about 520 kilometers that night. And he was in a hospital for more than a week. He had lost brain activity and very little brain activity. Face swollen. These are the vivid pictures I have, and I share this with you because it's important. Eventually, after a week of us really praying, seeking God, praying non-stop there in the hospital, doctors came to us and said, there's no brain activity, nothing. We can keep him alive on machines, but there's nothing. And you know, it's amazing that in that time, we knew the presence of God there. we knew that he had made a decision that he wants to go and be with Jesus. So we made the difficult decision to turn off the machines. Those were difficult times, trauma, stress, questions, really difficult. Really, really difficult. But you know, there was pain. There was pain. There were questions. There was heartache. And there still is, because you carry that for the rest of your life. And one thing I never saw, and especially in my mother-in-law, was hatred, anger, bitterness towards those men who murdered him, her husband, my wife and sister and her brother, their father, my father-in-law, my children's grandfather. Never ever saw bitterness and anger. In actual fact, I've never heard it in her, nor my beautiful wife or her sister or her brother. And yes, there has been pain. That type of grief, as I said, never goes away. Because the Bible says there's still death still has a sting. And that sting will only be taken away on that day he comes for all of us. But for us who remain, there's a sting of death. There really is. But all I see, and I want to tell you this again, all I see in my mother-in-law and her children are godly people who love God, who love the church, who love people, who love their family. My mother-in-law, who many of you will know, loved by people in every church that we have planted. Loved by people because she carries a grace. She carries grace. You see the fruit in her children. You see the fruit in her grandchildren. But you know what that is called? You know what that's called? That type of forgiveness? That type of love? That type of where there's no bitterness? That's called grace.